So in the last class I have told you work done during isothermal process. Isothermal process is the pressure and volume takes place, change of pressure and volume takes place, so that the temperature remains constant. And now I will find out, I will work done during adiabatic expansion. Work done during adiabatic expansion. So this cylinder which was placed over with movable piston, which was placed over the source because of heat, drawing heat from the source, this cylinder is this piston is moving upward, so there is a temperature is remaining constant, that is isothermal expansion. And now we take it out from the source and keep it over a insulating stand. Bringing the cylinder with movable piston from the source, I keep it, we take it out and keep it over the insulating stand. So these walls are non-conducting walls. This is also non-conducting, but this bottom of the cylinder was conducting, but since it is placed over the insulating stand, so this heat which was inside this gas doesn't go outside, or it doesn't receive heat from the outside. So but because of inertia, there is a volume is changing and it is pushing the piston upward. So because of inertia of motion, so this cylinder will move upward. But so there will be change in pressure and volume, also there will be change in temperature. It is not receiving heat from the surrounding or giving heat to the surrounding because it is placed over an insulating stand. So that means because of this expansion, it will do some work, and since no heat is being supplied to the system or giving heat to this outside to the system, so this is a adiabatic expansion. So we will find out the amount of work done. So the small amount of work done is dW, that is equal to PdV. And for adiabatic process, the gas equation is PV gamma is constant, gamma is Cp by Cv. So P is here equal to, this is equation 1, so P is equal to constant by V to the power gamma, or that is K into V to the power minus gamma to the power minus 1. So work done, small amount of work done, dW is equal to PdV, putting the value of P, so that becomes equal to K V to the power minus gamma dV. So total work done during adiabatic expansion is equal to dW, integral of dW. So this is integral of dW, so that is equal to W, so that is equal to K integral of V to the power minus gamma and dV. If the volume is changing from V1 to V2, the total work done when volume is changing from V1 to V2 is equal to W is equal to K V to the power minus gamma dV to V1 to V2. So that is equal to K. You know that x to the power n dx integral is equal to x n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus a constant. Now this is equal to integral of v to the power gamma minus gamma plus dv is equal to v to the power minus gamma plus 1 divided by minus gamma plus 1 with a limit v1 to v2. So that is equal to K. First you put the value of V as equal to V2, then minus V as equal to minus V1. So 1 minus gamma is taken out. So the first value is V2, 1 minus gamma, then minus V1, 1 minus gamma. Or that is equal to K 1 minus gamma V2, K is multiplied here inside, so that becomes equal to 1 K V2 1 minus gamma minus K V1 1 minus gamma. We know that PV gamma is constant, that is K, or that is when pressure is changing P1 V1 gamma is equal to P2 V2 gamma is K. So in place of K you can write as P1 V1 gamma or P2 V2 gamma. So here for convenience we write K in place of K we write as P2 V2 gamma, P2 V2 gamma into V2 1 minus gamma minus K बदल में I can write as K as P1 V1 gamma, P1 V1 gamma into V1 1 minus gamma. So that is equal to, powers are added, V2 gamma 1 minus gamma, so gamma gamma cancels. So this is P2 V2, 1 by 1 minus gamma P2 V2, then minus, similarly powers are added, plus gamma minus gamma cancels, so this is P1 V1, or that is equal to P2 V2 is equal to PV is equal to nRT for 1 gram only, this is RT, so this is RT2, then minus, similarly P1 V1 is RT1, যেহেতু P1 V1 is equal to nRT1, n is 1, so this is RT1. Similarly P2 V2 is equal to R, this is T1, this is RT2, and if you take R common, so this is R into 1 minus gamma into T2 minus T1. T1 is the initial temperature, that is more or large, T2 is the final temperature because of expansions in temperature is falling, so that is T2. So T1 is greater than T2 and gamma is also greater than 1, so we can write as this as equal to R gamma minus 1 T1 minus T2. So this is the work done in adiabatic expansion. Then what is a reversible process? What is a reversible process? What is a irreversible process? Reversible process. A process which can be retraced in opposite direction. So that it passes through exactly the same states, passes through exactly the same states in all respects as in the direct process, as in the is called reversible process. Isothermal and adiabatic isothermal and adiabatic process are the reversible process, because you know that in isothermal process pressure and volume is taking very slowly, so that a temperature remains constant. P1 V1 T is equal P2 V2 T. So that means the pressure is changing slightly slowly and volume is also increasing very slowly, but they since and temperature remaining constant. If you do the reverse operation, that means if you increase the pressure and decrease the volume and temperature remains constant, you will go in the same way. It will go in this way and finally you will reach the P1 V1 T1. Initially the pressure was P1, volume was V1, temperature is T. You decrease the pressure and in the volume will increase and temperature remains constant. The graph is like this. If you reverse the process, that means if you increase the pressure and decrease the volume, so it will move in the retrace in the same direction, same path, and will attain the initial condition of the system. So that is a reversible process. So adiabatic process is also a reversible process. And then similarly conversion of ice to water or water to ice. You take 1 gram of ice, so heat it. If you heat it, then you will find that the ice will be converted to water. And similarly, if you take water at 0 degree and take out heat, so then you will get ice. So conversion of ice to water, water to ice, or ice to water is a reversible process. Similarly, you take 1 gram of water, boiling water. So boiling water, if you give supply heat, that water which is boiling, there will be steam. If you take out heat from the steam, then you will get boiling water. So these are reversible process. Similarly, you take two dissimilar metals joined at two ends, two dissimilar metals, copper, iron, and similarly other metals, two dissimilar metals joined at two ends. If temperature difference is maintained, if you this is one junction, this is second junction, two junctions are dipped in a liquid. Suppose this is at 0 degree centigrade in ice, and it is in boiling water. That means two dissimilar metals joined at two ends, and a temperature difference is maintained between the two junctions. Then you will find that there will be a current flow. And reverse is also possible, that you take the two dissimilar metals joined at two ends and keep water on both the junctions. If you apply current, then you will find that water which is becomes one end becomes ice, and other end the water will boil. So this is reverse is also this possible. So this is a thermocouple. So this is a reversible process. Then irreversible, the process which is not reversible is called irreversible process. Work done against friction. When because of friction you do some work, heat is produced. That heat you cannot take it away, or you cannot bring it that heat which is supplied to the surrounding. You cannot brought out this heat. So this is a irreversible process. Joule heating effect. If you pass current through a wire, that current wire is heated, so that heat which is given to the surrounding, you cannot bring out that heat to the coil. Similar diffusion of gas into one another, so that is a irreversible process. That is the process which is not reversible is irreversible process. Then heat engine. It is a device used to convert heat into work. It is a device used to convert heat into work. रेलवे इंजिन आगु कोयला सब जाऊे कोयला जाकि कोयला हिट करूला हिट है पानी जाओ स्टीम होता स्टीम है से ठेलुला ठेलला इंजिन चलूला. सो दैट इज कोल इंजिन. दैट इज ऑल्सो ए हिट इंजिन. पानी बाष्प हेले ठेले पिस्टन ठेले द इंजिन विल मूव. एंड देन कार्नोट इंजिन. Carnot's engine. This is ideal reversible heat engine. This is a ideal reversible heat engine with maximum efficiency. This is a reversible engine. This is also ideal, never practically actually possible. This is a theoretical engine also. Which is not practically possible. And this engine was imagined by Sadi Carnot. So it was called as Carnot engine. Jeto it was designed by, it was imagined by Sadi Carnot, so the name was given as Carnot engine. So it is called as bearing the name of the scientist. The engine consists of 4 parts. One is the source, second one is the cylinder with movable piston, with the ideal gas, then sink, fourth one is the insulating stand. So the engine, this Carnot engine was consist of 4 parts. One is the source, another is the cylinder with mobile piston containing ideal gas, containing ideal gas, then sink and insulating stand. Source, it is a reservoir of heat. Source is it is a reservoir of heat. Having perfectly insulating walls, and conducting top. It is at high temperature T1. And extraction of heat if heat is given, doesn't change the temperature of the temperature. This is the source. This is the conducting top. These are all non-conducting walls. No heat can flow here on this side. This is perfectly insulating walls. Walls are insulating. No heat can flow along this. Only heat can flow at the top, this conducting top. Then cylinder with movable piston. Cylinder with containing ideal gas. The cylinder has insulating walls and conducting bottom, and the cylinder has insulating walls and conducting bottom. and it is fitted with airtight movable piston. And this piston can move up and down. It can go up or goes down. The ideal gas is taken as working substance. This is the cylinder. This is the piston. This is the airtight piston. This is non-conducting. This is non-conducting. This bottom is conducting bottom. And non-conducting walls. This is also non-conducting. And here working ideal gas is taken as a working substance. Then sink. Third one is sink. It is also a reservoir heat, and its temperature is T2. This is also a reservoir heat with a perfectly insulating walls and also conducting top, and it is at a temperature T2. It is at a high temperature, but slightly less than T1. Sink is also a reservoir heat. With insulating walls and conducting top. Its temperature is T2 and T2 is less than T1. So, temperature of sink is less than the temperature of the source. But it is a reservoir of heat. Any amount of heat given to it does not change the temperature. Any amount of heat rejected to the sink does not change the temperature. Temperature remains as T1 because the heat content is very large here. Here also heat content is very large. Then insulating stand. It is a stand made up of perfectly insulating material such that when a cylinder with a movable piston is placed over it, becomes insulated from the surrounding. This is an insulating stand. If the cylinder with movable piston is placed over it, means this is non-conducting, this is non-conducting, only it conducts heat on the bottom. But since it is placed over the insulating stand, no heat is transferred from here to here. So, it does not receive heat or gives heat to the surrounding. So, this is the working of insulating stand. Then how the engine works, the operation of Carnot engine. It operates on 4 stages. First is isothermal expansion, that is called first stroke of the engine. That is the isothermal expansion. So in this operation, first stroke, first operation, this cylinder with movable piston and containing ideal gas is placed over the source. This is the source. This is the source is at temperature T1. These are all non-conducting valves, no heat is transferred along this side of the valves, only there will be transfer along the top here. This is the source. First the cylinder with piston is, these are non-conducting, the conducting non-conducting valves, the bottom of this cylinder is conducting, and here your ideal gas is taken as a, this cylinder with movable piston is placed over the source, is placed over the source. When it is placed over the source, heat is it flows from the source to the ideal gas. So when heat flows, this volume of the gas increases. So there is a expansion of the volume. Volume expansion takes place. So when the volume expands, so it will push the bottom, push this piston upward. So when it will move the piston upward, the volume will increase, temperature will gradually slightly fall. So when temperature falls, see, it again draws heat from the source to the ideal gas, so that temperature is maintained constant. So in this process, it draws heat from the source to the ideal gas, and thereby pushing the bottom upward, so it does some work. And this ideal gas with cylinder is kept over the source till its pressure, initial pressure was suppose P1, volume was V1, and temperature is T1, and it is kept in the source in the source till the pressure changes from P1 to P2, volume changes from V1 to V2, and since the temperature is remaining constant and there is expansion, this is called as isothermal expansion. And that PV diagram, this is the first stroke of the engine, or that is isothermal expansion. And here suppose Q1 is the amount of heat that is taken, absorbed by the ideal gas, and their PV diagram shows like this. This is your P1, this is your V1, and this is your P2 and V2. Temperature remains as constant T1. This is isothermal expansion, and this is the first stroke of the engine. In the first stroke, this cylinder with movable piston with ideal gas is placed over the source, and because of the heat, it is at high temperature, heat will flow from the source to the ideal gas, gas will expand and it will push the bottom upward, so that temperature will slightly fall, and when there is a slight temperature fall, so heat will draw from the source to the ideal gas, keeping the temperature constant. So gas will expand, do some work moves the piston upward doing some work, and it continues till we keep it over the source till its pressure changes from P1 to P2 and volume V1 to V2, temperature remaining as same T1, and that is indicated by the graph AB. This is the first stroke of an engine, or first operation of the engine. Then second stroke. Second stroke is by second operation is adiabatic expansion. Then this cylinder with movable piston is taken away from the source, is kept over the insulating stand. Then we insulating stand, it is kept the cylinder with a movable piston is kept up over the insulating stand. This is the second operation. Pressure was P2, V2, and temperature was T1. Keeping out or taking out this cylinder with a movable piston and working substance from the source placed over the insulating stand, and at that time the pressure was P2, volume was V2, and temperature was T1. When it is placed over the insulating stand, this wall was conducting, the bottom wall of the cylinder was conducting. When it is placed over the insulating stand, it does not conduct any heat, but since the gas was expanding, it is moving the piston upward. Because of inertia of motion, it will expand, goes on expanding. The second operation, because of inertia of motion, this gas will expand. So when gas expands means that there will be, but it is not giving heat to the surrounding or receiving heat to the surrounding. So this is the adiabatic expansion. So because of the volume change, the temperature will gradually fall, and pressure and volume will change, and gradually temperature will fall, and this process is continued till it attains the temperature T2. So since its pressure is P3, volume is V3, and temperature is T3, and this is expansion, adiabatic expansion, and that is indicated by graph BC. Pressure is P3, volume is V3, and temperature is T2. This is second stroke, adiabatic expansion, or second operation. Second operation is the cylinder with movable piston is placed over the insulating stand, and because of inertia, this gas will expand, will move the piston upward, and it does not receive heat from the outside or gives heat to the outside. So quantity of heat remains same, but there is expansion. So this is called adiabatic expansion. And here in this process, first isothermal process, Q1 is the amount of heat that is received from the source, and here no heat is received from the surrounding or outside from the surrounding. Then it is continued till we get the pressure P3, volume V3, and temperature is falling from T1 to T2. Then then your third stroke. Third stroke is third stroke. That is your isothermal compression. So during isothermal compression, the ideal gas movable piston with cylinder and containing ideal gas is brought from insulating stand placed over the sink. This is a sink. In third stroke, this is the sink. Sink is at temperature T2. It is brought from the insulating stand and kept over the this piston. This is the working substance is kept over the sink. And now in the first two stroke, engine is doing work. The working substance ideal gas is doing work itself. But here we have to do work on the system, on the ideal gas. We will push the piston downward. So in the third stroke, we will push the piston downward so that the volume of the ideal gas will decrease. There is a compression. So when the volume of the gas decreases, temperature will rise. This temperature was its temperature was T2, and when we compress the piston, we will push the piston downward. So the volume of the ideal gas will decrease. So there will be compression. Temperature will rise and slightly greater than T2. So heat will be rejected to the sink. So when heat is rejected to sink, heat content is very large, so heat rejected to sink doesn't raise the temperature of the sink. So, but there will be a slight increase in temperature, so heat will flow from the working substance to the sink, keeping the temperature as constant. So that means we have done some work on the piston. We have done some work on the working substance. So, and this is a compression and temperature remains same. So this is isothermal compression. So that means here we reject some amount of heat to the sink. That Q2 is the amount of heat that is rejected to the sink here. This is third stroke of the engine. This is the third stroke of the engine. And this continues till the pressure volume becomes P4 and P4 and volume V4, temperature remains as T2. This is the compression. So this graph will indicate a diagram will be like this. Gradually pressure is increasing, volume is decreasing. So finally P4, V4 and that is T2, and that is indicated by diagram CD, and this is continued till we get the final pressure P4, V4 and T. Temperature becomes T2, and then we take away. This is third stroke of the engine, and then we take out the ideal gas with cylinder and movable piston from the sink and again placed it over the insulating stand. That is the fourth stroke of the engine. That is adiabatic compression. Fourth stroke. And here we have placed it over the insulating stand, and we have also we push this piston downward. So there is compression, but no heat is rejected to the sink, to the insulating stand or outside, or given receives heat from the outside. So this is adiabatic compression. Since the volume is decreasing, so this is adiabatic, and no heat is being received from the outside or given heat to the outside. So this is adiabatic compression. This process, this is continued till we get the final pressure P1, V1 and temperature. Here, since there is a compression, temperature will rise from T2 to T1. Gradually temperature will rise, and when temperature becomes T1, and then we get the pressure P1, V1 and T1, and that is represented by graph DA. This is the fourth stroke, that is adiabatic compression. So this is a ideal, this is a reversible engine. You see that by doing series of operation, first isothermal expansion, then adiabatic expansion, then isothermal compression, and then adiabatic compression, we reach the same pressure, same volume and same temperature. So this is a reversible engine. The Carnot engine is a reversible engine. This is an ideal engine, and its efficiency is large, and so by doing 4 operations, we by doing these all sorts of operation, we reach this original condition of the gas. P1, we get the original pressure P1, volume is V1 and temperature is T1. So this is a reversible engine. Then we will find what is the efficiency of the engine. We know efficiency is denoted by letter eta. Efficiency is output. What is the output work? And what is the input heat? So output work divided by input heat is the efficiency. तुम efficiency केम जाने जो मु केते पढ़ेली, so that is the input. तुम्हें केते परीक्षा रे ताको उपयोग कलो, so that is your output. So output by input is the efficiency. जदि मु जति पढ़ेली तुम्हें सेति की कहलो, so efficiency is 100%. तो आउटपुट वर्क होची आमे देइथिलु Q1 अमाउंट ऑफ हीट प्रथमे जो आइसोथर्मल एक्सपेंशन रे एवं adiabatic isothermal compression रे Q2 heat is ejected to the sink. So output work is Q1 minus Q2 and input heat is given is Q1. Then efficiency is Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1, or that is equal to Q1 by Q1 1 divided by Q2 by Q1. Detailed calculation is not in your course, so that is in higher classes. So I can tell you only that eta efficiency is equal to 1 minus Q2 by Q1, and Q2, the heat Q2 is directly proportional to the temperature T2, and similarly Q1 is directly proportional to T1. So that is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. So T2 is the temperature of the sink and T1 is the temperature of the source. So the efficiency of the Carnot engine depends only on the two temperature limits on which the engine works. Engine is working between the source temperature T1 and the sink temperature. It is not depending on the working substance. Whatever working substance you take, that is not depending, that is not dependent on the efficiency. So efficiency doesn't depend on the working substance, only depends on the two temperature limits on which the engine works, the temperature of the sink and temperature of the source. And when T2 is 0, T2 is the 0, when T2 is 0, efficiency will be 1 minus 0 by something is 0, so that is 1. T2 0 means absolute 0. Absolute 0 temperature is not obtained. We have not obtained, scientists have never obtained absolute 0 temperature. So you cannot construct a sink with absolute 0 temperature. So efficiency cannot be 1. Efficiency cannot be equal to 1, it is always less than 1. So let us work out a certain problem. So find the efficiency of a Carnot engine operating between ice point and boiling point of water. If Carnot engine operates between boiling point and ice point, find the efficiency. That means T1 source is at 100 degree centigrade and sink is at 0 degree centigrade. Then, but this is in centigrade scale, but here we have calculated, we have in Kelvin scale. So T1 is equal to 233, you have to add plus 100, so that is 373 degree Kelvin, and then T2 is similarly 233 plus 0 is 233 Kelvin. So efficiency of the engine operating between boiling point of water and ice point is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1, that is equal to 1 minus 233 by 333. So that is equal to 333 minus 233 divided by 333, that is 100 by 333. And efficiency is always calculated in terms of percentage. So efficiency will be 100 into 100 divided by 373. 333 100 है, एक रे कितने 100 रे कितने 100 1000 into 100 divided by 333. एती की percentage. So always you calculate the efficiency in percentage. So this is all regarding the Carnot engine. So I have told you regarding zeroth law, first law, then your second law of thermodynamics. Heat, we know always heat cannot flow from high temperature to low temperature. Heat cannot flow from low temperature to high temperature. Heat cannot flow from cold body to hot body without doing work. By external agents. Heat cannot flow from cold body to hot body. We know that the water will never flow from high pressure to a low pressure to high pressure. If you want to lift the water from low pressure to high pressure, you have to take the help of a pump. Similarly here, if heat cannot flow from a cold body to hot body, always heat flows from hot body to cold body. So if you want to flow heat from cold body to hot body, then you have to take some help of external agency. By doing some work, then you can flow heat from a cold body to hot body. So that is the second law of thermodynamics.